Hey guys, welcome to Flight Test. I'm Austin.
And I'm TJ.
And today we're gonna go over some just kind of basic Mavic tips. I know a lot of people are just getting their Mavic in the mail or recently ordered theirs and are anxiously anticipating it. And so we've spent a little bit more time than most with the Mavic. And so we have a couple of quick tips that we've learned that might help you get the most out of it. The first one I wanted to cover is that there actually is a little bit of a digital zoom that's on the Mavic. So it actually goes to 2x zoom. So if you're flying around something and you don't want to get super close to it, you're just being cautious, but you want to get that tighter shot, you can go 2 times into it.
Yeah, so like if you're flying around and you don't want to have the prop noise be crazy loud right beside somebody, you can back up a little bit and zoom in on it. But at the same time, if you're not shooting in 1080 and you're shooting in 4K, you know, after the fact in post, you can just zoom in.
Yeah, you might lose a little bit of quality by doing that 2x zoom. So another way to do it is to shoot in 4K and then crop in post. It's really up to you whether or not you want to mess with that or not. But it is a neat feature that most people don't know about. One that we kind of whiffed on our first impressions video was that there is a tap to focus on the Mavic and there is a exposure. So that's another thing, is that there is a small depth of field to the Mavic, and we've showed that in our review, and I assure you that you can kind of see the difference there. But you know, it's really important to click something on the horizon right when you take off, because that'll put everything in the infinity focus, I think they call it. But if you're up close to something, like within 50 feet, you want to tap that and make sure you get a nice clear image.
Another thing I do on mine is instead of tap to focus, you have the 2 C buttons on the back of the remote. You can actually just set it to 1, so while you're flying around, I just kind of mash it.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea, yeah. The next tip that we have is something that may not get a lot of use from some Mavic owners. It's one of the smart features. It's called tripod mode. Now, I think it's kind of how this mode was sold a little bit, is that it's like a real docile mode for like indoor flying, and it's just really, the controls are really dumbed down. It's actually kind of hard to get it to do what you want it to do in tripod mode. However, something that we've been using tripod mode for that is actually has some really cool results is using it for a moving time lapse. So if you take the Mavic up to like maybe 100 feet and like pick a subject in the distance, and then you throw it in tripod mode and then you just slowly move across the sky, you get a really cool time lapse effect that's really stable. And like when you see it at first, you're like, how'd they do that? And so that's how we've been doing it.
Yeah, one thing to note about that is, Alex does a really good job with that, but he says that the ones that he does pretty much takes an entire battery.
Yeah.
No, so it's not something that's fast.
Yeah, it's a time commitment. Yes. But it looks really cool. It almost reminds me of the Apple TV like screensavers or whatever.
Yeah. It's an awesome thing to try out. So I mean, you don't have to spend a whole battery to test it.
It's just a cool feature to experiment with and maybe not use it in the sense that DJI intended it to be used.
Right. So once you get your Mavic and it's out of the box, your props are not going to be on it, so definitely remove those. I believe mine come with 2 props on and 2 props off.
Oh really? That's weird.
Yeah, so take all your props off, set it on the side, and then do your firmware updates. Make sure your batteries are fully charged for the Mavic, the controller, and your device, whether you're using a phone or an iPad. Plug it in, and when you open up the app, it's going to come up and pretty much there'll be a red box that says, please update me.
Yeah, something I've noticed with DJI products is that the newer the product is, the more important the firmware updates are. Like for example, when we unboxed the Inspire 2, like we weren't able to get dual operator working, or really even most of the camera settings working properly until we did quite a few firmware updates. So it's not like Adobe or it's not like Apple where you can just click remind me tomorrow. It's really something you should do before you fly.
Right, and it's not just the craft that has updates. Every battery you have will have an update. The controller will have an update. The apps will have an update, and it's very important. There may be something in the very first rendition to where all of a sudden it's losing connection mid-flight.
Literally everything on the machine will get updated except for maybe the props, but I'm sure that's coming soon.
Yeah, and then once you get your updates done, you have some calibrations to do. You do want to calibrate the compass.
Yeah, usually big changes in altitude or just big change in location, it's always smart to recalibrate the compass. Also, if it's just flying weird, just going through the recalibration list is usually a good way to go.
Right, and when you do calibrate the compass, you don't want to be pretty much on concrete, under a roof. Get out in an open field somewhere away from everything. I even try not to have like a watch on that's giving any kind of signals. I want to be able to go out in the field and get this thing set right. So if I take off and then all of a sudden it does something wonky, that I'm not surprised.
Another tip that I didn't know until today is that you can plug an iPhone cable or just any USB cable into the bottom of the remote here, and that allows you to use a full-size tablet. Obviously the Mavic is designed to be a little bit more portable, so it's It's a good size. Like I have an iPhone 6s Plus, so that fits just real snugly in there. I have seen people fit an iPad mini, just put the corners in here and then put the cable in the bottom. But if you're trying to show somebody else what you're doing, or if you just want, you know, a bigger screen just to see better, you know, compose your shot a little bit better, you might be better off putting the iPad on a little stand in front of you and just using the controller separately. I've had really great results doing that. Right. So one thing that we've noticed with the Mavic is that the stock settings are actually pretty decent on it. If you're more of a photographer that's getting their first aerial platform and you're wanting to mess with more of the photography and the video side of it, you're definitely going to mess with the manual settings more than just with the audio. I know that stock settings, it comes a little bit saturated, and so that's one thing that people, you know, like to play with right away. Another big thing is the white balance. You know, based on the conditions and based on the lighting, you're going to want to white balance if you're wanting to get a little bit more professional shot.
Yeah, and this is a big one for me. So when I first got the Mavic, I left on auto, took it out, flew it around, and then you and Alex have actually had a lot more experience with this. So I was flying, Alex come out and said, you know, look, don't use auto. You know, go to manual, adjust some things, and the white balance. I never do white balance.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, a big thing for me, and it's just as simple as changing. If it's sunny outside, click sunny. If it's cloudy, click cloudy.
And you can even do custom, and so you know, you're going to get some drastically different results if you're playing with those camera settings and getting a little bit deeper into those options.
Yeah, take an extra, you know, 10-15 seconds once you take off and go into your advanced camera settings and just play around. You know, if you don't like what you see, go back to auto and just reset. And then another thing that's really going to affect the quality of your shot is the little cover. Yes, they include this to be a protective covering while you're flying. You know, you have the anti-scratch pad, I guess you could say, while you're transporting it. Pull that off and you can leave this on. My first flight, I had this on. And it's not a bad thing, but on mine, I got some really crazy lens flaring, and it seemed like I could see the reflection of the prop while I was flying around. So if you're going to do some crazy stuff, leave that on.
Well, I think there's probably two different customers for the Mavic. There's people that are really wanting a drone that explores, that has good flight time, that they can go check stuff out, it has a great range on it. And you might be doing a little bit more high-risk stuff. And so it might be better for you to put that cap on if you don't really care what your footage looks like at that point. If you're really looking for a good shot, you definitely want to remove that cover, and I would recommend always having it on during transport.
Yes.
All right, guys, I hope some of these quick tips were helpful to you guys. These are just some things that we've learned with spending a little bit more time than most people have with the Mavic, and so hopefully if you've ordered one, it's coming in the mail soon or it's already arrived. If we missed anything, please leave us a comment below and we'll try to pin a comment or upvote comments that we see that are really helpful. And please check out the comment section to see if anybody has mentioned a tip that we forgot or just missed.
Yeah, guys, and don't forget to subscribe. And now on YouTube, you have a little bell. You want to click that bell to get notifications anytime we do anything with our channel.
All right, guys, I want to thank you for watching. We'll catch you next time. Bye.